Hi, welcome to our fire chat conversation. I'm here with my fellow coaches that attended the Perennial Gathering. I just felt it would be nice for us just to catch up and have a general reflection of what this meant for us as leaders on the go, leaders at the front line of transforming communities. So just a fire chat, nothing formal. We are doing things unconventional. Welcome, ladies. Could you please introduce yourselves? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Monica. My name is Claire Akumu. I serve as a partnerships officer at Gallup Initiative Uganda, and I'm excited for this conversation. Yeah. That's it, Erin.
Hello, my name is Dorothy Nafula, and I'm the Impact Officer at Gallup Initiative. And thank you.
Yeah, so ladies, let's start from when you got to know that Gallup was saying yes to both of you to be able to represent the organization to attend the Perennial Gathering. Tell us about that journey in your mind, the excitement. What was it like?
I would say it was very exciting. It was very exciting. I felt excited because it was going to be my first, global conference for me to participate in, and that was very exciting. But the fact that it would be in Japan, I was like, okay, I'm actually going to Japan. That was also very exciting. But I think it also came with a lot of a heaviness, I would say a responsibility. The fact that you, our ED, and also the organization could entrust me with such a space and such an opportunity. So it came with its own pressures of how do I show up and actually make my organization proud and make my boss proud. So it was a mixture of both the, responsibility that it came with, but also the excitement to be in such a space, but also to be in a new country overall.
Dorothy?
For me, I think it was a challenge at first. When I got the email that you've been invited, I was like, what is happening? Because according to how you had described the gathering and how the global space is, I was like, am I even worthy to attend such a gathering? So I was a bit scared at first, but then I came to believe that by the time my name is there being invited, there's maybe something that is brewing in me that needs to, go out there and see the world in a different way.
Thank you. Fast forward. We book our flights. We get to the airport. What was your experience getting to Japan? Any highlights, anything exciting? Fast forward, Claire?
Well, I love the journey entirely. It was in constant anticipation of, okay, this is happening. This is actually happening. We are in the flight and we are getting there. And I think even getting to Japan, I think I got what they call a culture shock, because everything seemed different from how it was in my own country, but in a good way. So it was excitement and anticipation. How is the conference going to be like? How am I expected to show up? And so it was excitement. I couldn't wait to get there.
And for me, being that the flight was a long one, and for the first time, it was the first time I was going to take a long flight, I kept on thinking, from the time we started the journey, we're going to be almost a whole day moving in air where you don't have control over anything.
Yeah.
You're seated, you can't do anything, you're just bound there. So
Yeah.
I kept on thinking about the trip, the distance that we had to travel. But then also in my head, I was just wondering now, in those different airports, you don't understand things. How do you manage to connect? And then when you reach in Japan, someone had already told me, how are you going to be able to survive in a country where English is not the common language that is used? And I'm like, maybe we'll use Google, and then just how we'll be able to relate with people from a different context. I think I kept on having so many questions compared to believing that this was going to be fun. I kept on wondering, how are we going to navigate things? How are we going to figure out things? And being that it was the first time I was traveling out of East Africa, it was
Out of Africa.
out of Africa, actually.
Yes.
Out of Africa.
Yeah.
It was groundbreaking for me.
To me.
Yeah, thank you. And I remember as we got into immigration, finished with immigration, and had to get a train to Tokyo.
Yeah.
It was almost midnight. Let's talk about that experience. I remember that time when I was just trying to buy the tickets, and this lady just saw that we lost, and she was so kind, generous, came and supported us to make sure we buy the right ticket, we're on the right track. What did you think about the people? Immediately you go to Japan in the underground of the train. What did you think?
At that moment, when that lady came in to support us, I started feeling the warmth. Even when we were clearing through immigration,
Yes.
I felt the warmth of people, even how they were talking to us and how they kept our luggage, because we got a bit delayed when clearing within the airport. But the way they handled our luggage, and then the people, that lady, when she came in, we were looking a bit confused. And then she came in, and then she had to even move. Many people were running after the train because of the time that the train has to leave. So people were like, it was like a rush hour. But the fact that this lady left that and came to support us, we didn't have yen, we just
We're
had
clueless.
we were just trying to figure out things. I didn't even worry about the fact that it was late at night. All I was thinking about is we are still going and we are going to reach.
Yes. And for me, I think I just felt safe. The place was safe, calm, so much community. And I'm like, oh, it's almost midnight. And it's really very safe. I just felt at home. Claire, what was your experience?
I think it was similar to yours and Dorothy's. I felt very safe for it to be midnight at that time. And you're not worried about, oh, my bag is going to be snatched from me, or I am going to get lost somewhere. Our focus was mainly, how do we get to the right train? But also what that lady did, God bless her heart, her stepping out of her way and reaching out to support us and help us get those tickets, says a lot about the people. And like Dorothy has said, they were very warm and welcoming right to the very end. So, and I also remember when we navigated our way to the train platform, and Dorothy and I were busy, asking people around, is this where the train is supposed to be?
The numbers on the tickets.
Yeah, we were trying to read Japanese. Imagine that. It failed. So we're asking people around, are we at the right place? Is this the right train? And most of them did not know how to speak English, but they took the initiative to, use Google Translate and tried to let us know, oh, yeah, you're in the right place. So we stayed put. But even in staying put, there was the anxiety of what happens if you're on the wrong train and you end up in a different place. So I would say it was a very interesting experience. All those emotions, but also knowing that you're not alone. I love the fact that we were a team together and we held ourselves through.
Bless our team abundance. Angela, Joseph, Aisha, and Jennifer. Team abundance. Thank you for we're together. Humphrey. The
yes.
team kept growing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're together. So we had each other's back. If anything was going wrong, someone knew the answer.
Yeah.
So I just love the fact that I did not have to go through that.
Yeah. Thank you. So fast forward, we're in Karizawa. Of course, we spent the night in Tokyo, then took the bullet train. When I saw that thing on the bullet train, I'm like, hey, Monica, this time, bullet train, what is this? But anyway, fast forward on the bullet train, Ugandans will have to yap and talk. The train was quiet. I'm like, hey. So whenever Angela would start, I'm like, Angela, we are in Japan. Please lower down your voice.
And Rasa Abdua had encouraged us not to make noise while on the train.
One on the train.
Have to keep quiet.
We have to follow the culture. Fast forward, we are in Karizawa, the beautiful mountains, the beautiful place. We are off the train and just figuring out our way to the amazing, the Prince Hotel. And fast forward, we get to the hotel, we settle in. Fast forward, gathering that evening. What would you think? What do you have to say about the gathering, right from how it was initiated, how people were welcome? What was your experience about the gathering? The Perennial Gathering.
You want to go first? Okay. So when I look back to that evening of the gathering, the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, this is unusual. I remember Dr. Britt being clad in, the Japanese attire, the blue, and then I was like, okay, that's quite unusual. I don't know, but in my head I pictured him maybe showing up in a suit or something of that sort, because this is the conference. So when I saw him dressed in that, it kind of came with a certain ease and also a relaxation. Like it helped me ease my nerves, knowing that okay, you're in a safe place, but also you do not have to be on pressure to show up or appear a certain way. And we were having that, speed networking session. And I think for every participant that I got to interact with, was very lively and just happy to be in the place. I did not have to be on pressure to show up a certain way. And I particularly also loved the performances that followed after that.
Drums.
Exactly.
Those drums reminded me that you people, Japan is Africa part 2, because through the community,
Exactly.
the culture, the tea ceremony,
Yes.
and just starting things quite unconventionally, just to say we are a people, we are a community. Doris, what was the experience for the opening?
My experience is similar to Claire's, but for that session when we had the speed dating, and I think we came in a bit late, so we just had to start, boom, like immediately. So the first person I met was James, and then he tried to explain to me what we were doing. And surprisingly, for all the days that came after, always made James and be like, oh, hi, Dorothy. Hi, Dorothy. He never forgot me. So even just doing that and, toning down, bringing the room to what it should be like for everyone to be themselves, made me believe that I was in the right space. But also, when we had those different ceremonies, I liked how the organizers did not have to bring things from, other countries for us to be able to feel that we are connected. They still brought the Japanese culture there and we connected with it. We didn't have to bring an African way of doing things for us to be able to feel like, we've been represented. We had to settle in with the Japanese way of doing the drumming, the tea ceremony, the people, the way they were dressed. And I think the first person who sat next to me after the drumming, when we were drumming, he was from Japan, and he was talking. He was saying, hello, how are you? And I was asking things. I'm like, why are people not smiling as they're drumming? And he was explaining, and I'm like, okay, you can actually be here without you feeling like you're on pressure. You're being coerced to be a certain kind of person who you aren't.
Yeah. And of course, day one, returning to our cottages, the beautiful cottages, Japanese style. Did you realize that those toilets were heating up? They were warm toilets. Have you seen that anywhere in the world?
Were warm, and they kept on encouraging people, do not touch.
They don't touch the pipes because they would warm the towel.
I'm like, I've traveled, but Japanese. Yes, okay. So fast forward, we move into the big day. We come for the big day, and Dr. Britt is there, really trying to center us on in terms of appreciating our interconnectedness, and maybe talking around the other issue that really struck my heart was the issue around this, the concept around scarcity and abundance. How can we start to look at things differently, especially people working in community partners? How can we show up more from a place of abundance, acknowledging that everyone has something, rather from a place of scarcity and looking at things in people in different boxes? So I just want to really ask, what was it for you in the gist of the gathering that really reckoned with you? What did you take home? What did you feel of all those themes every other day? I think for day one, we had a theme around just stepping out to see what was the word he used?
Attunement?
What attunement? What are you
Attuned to?
What are you attuned to? And just allowing people that space to sit down with themselves. Then too, we looked at things around what does abundance versus scarcity look like, then the interconnectedness, then the regeneration. It was all those amazing things that are part of the book, the A Crucial Way. So for you, just looking at the different segments of the gathering, what stayed with you?
For me, I think from the first year when we had the soil building activity, the morning soil building activity, when we had to move out and go to the forest,
Yes.
and the water bodies that were around
Yeah.
at Prince Karizawa.
Yeah.
When we were there, they did not even say, if you're a funder, well, you need to connect with the trees. Or if you're a grantee, you need to go and sit next to the lake. We did.
Yeah.
I just said, all of us, go out, go think about yourself. What are you? And there I was next to the water body. There was like a spring and some trees, and there were some birds that were around there. And there was noise from the birds. The water there were some droplets, but they were a bit slow. And then the trees were like on their own. So while we were there, I just kept on noting things. I realized I was writing things that are related to work. Like, am I even understanding the assignment or I'm on my own? So when we were there, I just kept on thinking, what really takes my time, or what am I attuned to? And then when we went back and people were sharing their experiences, I realized I wasn't alone who was working, who was writing down things related to work. But when people shared and they brought in those experiences I just realized that even when I was there, the birds did not stop making the noise. The water continued flowing. The leaves, wherever the wind came, they would move whatever direction. Like, even with our presence there, we did not change anything. And so when people shared, I was like, oh, it's kind of thing where I'm not understanding if what I'm writing is what the conference requires of us. So when people shared their reflection, I said, I should have been like truthful to myself and think about more of things about my life and not things that have really been constructed from the outside. So when we continued for several days, and the core principles of the gathering, like you mentioned, abundance over scarcity, curiosity over conviction, those are some of the things that are talked about in the Yakusho book.
Yeah.
Yes, I began to resonate with them. And there was that session of interconnectedness. We connected with people, we talked, we didn't even think about it. And even when you would meet people, they would not be like, oh, Monica, I'm from Ghana, I'm the ED. No, we just connected that. I'm connecting with you as Monica, as Claire. And we are not just talking about work, but we're talking about life in general. But just toning down that pressure that has been built so much by us, the people, and doing things in a more natural way as humans. We didn't have PowerPoint, we didn't have slides. And we were learning. And even up to now, I still feel my spirit is there in Japan, but the principles that we carried from there are living with me beyond even work, at home, when I'm moving in public spaces and beyond.
I'll come back to how that is now like showing up in your work. Claire, what was it? What stayed with you as part of the Perennial Gathering?
Quite a lot, honestly. Before I can even share what stayed with me, I like to think of the gathering as a well. You know, a well you keep drawing water continuously, even when you leave. There is an opportunity to keep drawing, and I think that's how it's been. When I reflect back, new learnings always come up. But I think the thing that stayed with me most was also from the very first day, the soil building. I also remember going into that forest wondering, okay, what exactly am I going to do in this place? But when I did get there and I tried to pay attention to the environment, I was just noticing how the trees were swaying, the birds were moving, the water. And for me, as a leader, and at that point in time, the journey that I'm on, the thought that came to my mind was authenticity, and how each element in nature was simply being itself without the pressure or without the pressure to perform. The trees were not trying to be or do what the birds were doing. Neither was the water trying to move at the speed of the leaves. Everything was just moving at its own pace and being true to its identity. And then I realized that it's because of that authenticity that they were carrying that nature was at peace. Because you can imagine water leaving its true element and, moving at a pace that it's not supposed to move, it would create chaos. That's how we see floods or we see hailstorms, because something has gone out of proportion. And it just helped me realize that even as I'm at the conference, but also outside of the conference, my ability to truly connect with people comes from first, how authentic do I show up? Not only outside, but also to myself. How true am I to myself, to my values, to my identity, before I can even connect with people? Because if it comes out from a place of, performance, it's going to be transactional friendship or relationship.
Yeah.
But if it comes out from a place of authenticity, you're actually really building meaningful relationships with people. So that's the key thing that I took away. And it just correlated so much with that, what the Hakishawe book preaches, being true to yourself and staying connected to the soil. And the soil is what defines your essence, your identity. Yeah.
You've poetically put it out for us there. Your essence, your identity, your authenticity. Yeah, it was really deep. Just talking for myself is I've been to different spaces, but Perennial has always been that place that takes me back to the basics, back to the acknowledgement that I'm human, and so I should always start from a place of humanity. I should start from a place from the self before I can even interact with someone else. So for me, that lesson around attunement was one of just going back to journal, just write whatever was coming out of my mind. I'm like, okay, what am I attuned? Just like Dorothy. There were things that were attuned that I wrote that were more work related, but I took time now to go deeper the layers to focus on, okay, what am I drawn to? What brings my energy? What inspires me? And just being able to write them down was powerful. So just looking at the essence of the gathering, the people. I mean, for me, I just felt like Dr. Britt helped break down the hierarchies and allow people to be people. Allow people to tap into themselves. Allow people to know before titles, you're human. And so I even love the energy around people showing up for each other and wanting to support each other. They did not tell us go support someone else, but you'd feel the need to. And so the environment was just fresh, So I can talk about the gathering until the cows come home, like the African saying says. But
yeah.
And for me, on my reflections, even on my LinkedIn, the culture of the people in Japan, amazing.
Oh.
The ethos of the gathering around humanity first, before we can even showcase what else are we doing ourselves. And so for me, even just being a leader, and I'll be coming to ask you, what does that mean for your work? It just gave me that confidence, especially now in a world where everything looks like competition. That confidence saying, I can always step back and take care of me and listen to what am I attuned to, and to even just ask myself the hard questions so that I can lead from a place of authenticity, from a place of courage, from a place of openness. I know for sure that in your leadership journey, you're in the partnerships team at the organization. What are some of those lessons you're beginning to practice in your personal life or even in your work life that the gathering kind of offered you like an opener? Or what are some of those things you've started doing? Whether in your own, or look at life, personal life, or even at work, or even with colleagues. What is beginning to change for you, Claire?
I think I'll borrow from what you said, approaching life from humanity first. And I think that's something I'm trying to adapt. That even beyond the title that I may carry at work, beyond the place that I may carry in my family, I'm still a human being first. And there are certain things that I am worthy of just by virtue of being human. So I'm learning how to pay more attention to my needs, to my needs as an individual. And because I'm learning that, barren soil cannot grow a tree, right? So I am learning how exactly do I cultivate keep it fat, so that whatever tree is planted in it actually grows and, is able to reach its full potential. So even in my work, I'm trying so much to ensure that I show up, but I'm taking care of my well-being, because if my well-being is not okay, I cannot fully, show up and be effective in my role as a partnerships officer. But beyond that, from the lessons we learned on abundance and scarcity, it really shifted my mindset, because most times we like to think of the philanthropy or funding space as we look at ourselves at a point of disadvantage, and not as at a point of having something to offer. And I'm learning that we actually do have something as organizations, as NGOs, even as funders have something to offer. So it's a relationship that is working together towards a certain goal. It's not one person in power and the other one is powerless. So even in my work, in my reporting, I intend to always carry the consciousness that Gallup has something to offer the funders. And also, how do we strategically align our communication, our initiatives, our reporting to show the value that we as an organization carry beyond looking at ourselves as a disadvantage. And like I've always learned it from you, Monica, because you always tell us, it's from a place of abundance. And even how we do not report our girls as, victims, but rather as people that have survived through whatever it was that happened to them, and they are now victors. So I think the conference re-emphasized, it echoed that learning, and I'm being more intentional about how exactly do I frame my work to ensure that I'm not putting the organization, but also the girls we reach out to and the boys, I'm not putting them at a downside or at a point of disadvantage, but rather at a point where they have something to offer.
Thank you very much. Dorothy?
Yes, I want to use some of the words that Dr. Bridge usually uses. We need to grow the soil and not just grow plants. I think he uses that.
Yes.
And so as leaders, when we were in Japan, I think the conference was trying to build the soil, which was us.
Yes.
And if we do that, in our workspaces, in our different communities, we do not exist on our own. We live with people. And looking at the core principles of a gathering, for instance, the generosity of a scarcity, and recognizing that everyone has something to offer with the mindset of generosity, and then recognizing that what they offer is valuable. So even at organizational level, when you come to our workspaces, sometimes we think, I am the one doing the impact. I am the one analyzing the data and saying, I'm showing you this impact because it is my effort. Yeah. But this impact that you're seeing has been done by a program staff, by the ED who is visionary, by the finance team who has been able to make the payments. And that value from each and every one of us, the contribution, the generosity from what they can offer, comes out as the impact that we are seeing. Our summer, they said we need to stop reporting beneficiaries as beneficiaries, but as main actors. Because there are the reasons as to why we see this impact. Yes, we have the ideas, we have the money to go and do the work, but they're the main actors as to why we see the impact. So looking at us all as we are growing the soil, that I am growing my finance team, I'm growing my programs team, that we all move together and carry the visions that we have at different levels to not just focus on results outside, but even ask people not to lose ourselves there, that whatever we do now will benefit even the generations that will come. So recognizing the value that each and every one of us has, what you can offer, and how we can be able to support each one of us to get to the results that you will see at the end of the year, the numbers that you will be reporting at the end of the year. I think that has changed how I see things and how I live with people, not to compete, but to know that each one of us, we are growing soil. We are not just growing plants, but we are growing soil that we will see the fruits coming out, and the tree, the bird, the manure, the oxygen have all contributed to this particular plant and the plants that will grow that soiling.
So, thank you. And it reminds me around the issue of sustainability, leadership sustainability. Oftentimes, of course, as a visionary leader, you're expected to be at the helm, but we also know that leadership sustainability is very critical. But just before we close our reflections, our fire chat, I know people have been hearing us talking about perennial gathering. how would you describe the Perennial Gathering as we?
Sure, the other.
One word?
How would you describe the Perennial Gathering?
How would I describe the Perennial Gathering? What about what? The one word that I would use to describe that gathering is the humanity that it reminds you of as a person. Like, where did we lose humanity from? And the gathering brings that back, and it doesn't just focus on us, the people, but even in our work that we do, in how we live with people each and every day at home, in our communities, but just something that I don't know if this is the right word, to give a rebirth to what we lost as human beings. So bringing back humanity, bringing back life. And in Dr. Britt's book, The Yakusho Way, Soil Building, he talks about life has to be lived. We don't have to live life at the end of the process. We need to live it as a process. So the gathering brings back that life. Can we live life as human beings, humanness? Can we bring humanity in each and everything that we do, that we get to where we want to, the success, the goals that we.
Oh, I love that, Claire.
I would describe the Perennial Gathering as a redefinition of leadership. A redefinition of leadership, because we've all grown up with an idea of who a leader is to be. I think the Perennial Gathering is together trying to redefine who a leader really is. But also I think it's a place of grounding, a place where you are being rooted in the soil that you are, created in. Those two, place of redefining leadership at a place.
Absolutely. And for me, I would define it as an intentional space that helps us recognize that we need to invest in the soil if we want to see the plants grow. There is no shortcut. If we want to grow our visions, we want to grow our ideas, it's very important to do the hard work, to do that inner work. And for me, the gathering is such an opportunity to have a bit of inner reflection, but we can see all the results we want to see. They see the partnerships we want to see. We can see a less toxic environment of communities, of partnerships, whatever it is, just helping us, like Dorothy said, a rebirth of humanity. And there you've said, just defining what does leadership look like, where did we lose it from, and how can we bring the small pieces and start from a place of love, from a place of humanity, from a place of caring for one another. So thank you so much for listening to us, myself and our coaches. I would say now you're perennial fellows. I think by virtue invested on me as a long-term perennial, maybe you're more perennial fellows, and so
the regeneration
is coming to you from me. Exactly. I need to create more space so that the two of you and the others, even on the camera, can actually grow in this space as we regenerate the organization, as we serve communities. So thank you so much for listening to us, and we shall be back with other reflections. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.